Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by Icom. For more information, visit IcomAmerica.com/HamNation. And by DX Engineering. DX Engineering offers practically everything you need to outfit your shack, plus the fastest shipping in the industry. In-stock items ship the same day, Monday through Friday until 10 p.m. Eastern. For more information, visit DXEngineering.com/HamNation.
This is Ham Nation, episode 267 for September 28th, 2016. Now available on Shortwave.
Hello, everybody. This is K9EID, Bob Heil, and I'm speaking to you from the Ozarks. It's a very special show tonight. We have some very neat things going on about D-Star Radio and so on, but before we get into all of this, we're going to turn on the big transmitter down in Nashville, and we'll be talking to those people in a minute. And Ham Nation is going to go nationwide and globally through WTWW. And we have caretakers of that huge transmitter down there and talk about it here in a minute. But in the meantime, let's see who's here. It's Gordon West from Costa Mesa. How are you doing, Gordo?
All is well in Costa Mesa, and you're right. Tonight, we're going to be heard all over the area. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. And we also have the expert of D-Star, GPS, and all things crazy, and that's our good friend Don Arnold. Don, how are you?
I'm finding the frogs here. I'm having a great time. I'm not an expert, but I enjoy D-Star for the last month, and I'm going to tell you from the newbie's position what D-Star and APRS is all about. Back to you, Bob.
We need that. Gordo and I are just pretty stupid when it comes to it, so you're going to teach us as well as all of you listeners and viewers. But before we get around to all you guys, keep in mind Don Wilbanks is in. He's getting all keyed up there, to bring Newsline and maybe a little bit of Tamitha's report. And with Dale's going to be on tonight with some really great Show Me Your Shack. And of course we got old George and his soldering iron. So we never know what he's got going, but I know there's some good reports coming. But before we do all of this, let's go down to Nashville, Tennessee, and turn on the big transmitter. We welcome Ted, Randall, Holly, and Dave. How are you doing down there tonight? You got the filaments lit?
We're all lit up. Power's going out. Got a big, huge tube glowing red and belching out RF into the atmosphere. Hopefully, we've got friends in China and Africa and all over Asia tuning in tonight on the shortwave and joining Ham Nation.
Well, we're so glad to have you guys, and we're doubly glad to be a part of your program on the big shortwave station. You know, shortwave hasn't really taken a lot of interest here, but in the past few years, you guys had a lot to do with bringing it around, and we're so excited to be simulcast by your monster transmitter. We had a nice program here a few months ago that you showed us some nice things, and we're going to be doing future shows from there, but tonight we're a little short on time, and we just wanted to let everybody know that Ham Nation is being simulcast. And tell us a little bit about the transmitter that you're using, Ted.
Well, this is actually, it's a Continental. It's been highly modified, and hopefully we're sending the S meters all the way over to 40 and 30 and numbers like that. That's generally the reports we get. We're really glad to have, though, Ham Nation on WTWW is because we're trying to promote this fraternity of ham radio. And there's a lot of folks that get into ham radio by listening to shortwave. So we have to do all we can to push them over the edge and get them to pick up books by Gordo and whatnot and study and get that test. It's not that hard, but they love listening to Shortwave. And hopefully what we can do by bringing Ham Nation all over the world, all four corners of the planet, is to enlighten folks about what a wonderful hobby this is. And definitely the cast of Ham Nation are the folks that can carry that message.
Well, we're so happy to be a part of what you're doing, and you have some really interesting program. I think Dave Ramsey's on, and you got Art Bell when he feels like talking, and some of the other programs. I understand you're going to have some little freak from Illinois doing some organ things in the future on Saturday night. Is that what's happening?
Well, we're really tickled about that. Bob has taken the time to sit down in front of the big theater organ and put together some special programming for us. And we'll be announcing when that's going to take place. But when you did the Christmas concert, folks absolutely fell in love with it. So we're looking forward for doing a whole lot more of that. And there's nobody better on a theater organ than Bob Heil. So everyone be sure to tune in and listen when we put it on shortwave radio.
Well, thank you. There's a little view of all of that. And I wanted to let you know, I have never seen the meter on this Icom. I've never seen it at 60 dB. I should get my other camera on it to prove to you guys. Look, I'll tune off and it's gone. You can see any of that at all. It's over 60 dB. Oh, my goodness. I'm using my 160 meter antenna on the Icom, so a big signal. Well, we sure appreciate you being here. Before we leave, Holly, what's the cat's name?
I've been calling him Twitty Kitty.
Oh, okay.
Twitty Kitty.
Twitty Kitty.
All right. Dave, how do you keep up with all this stuff? You're kind of the interlocutor for that whole family, aren't you?
With Twitty Kitty on Ham Nation, he can honestly say he's never been this far before.
It's so nice to have you. Thanks for simulcasting us here each week, and we'll be having you back again. And we really appreciate it so very much. So, best regards to you guys, and to keep those filaments lit and the antenna Corona cooking. I wouldn't want to live too close to that train.
You may want to mention that folks can look for or listen for Ham Nation each week at your regular times, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central on 5085 every week on WTWW.
Okay, thank you so much, you guys and gals, and we'll catch in next week, see what's going on. But in the meantime, we're going to be listening to that huge signal on 5085. So have fun, everybody. You won't have any trouble hearing it, I'm sure. Gordo, what do you think about all this? I mean, we started this program about 5 years ago, and who knew that you and I were going to grow it to this, and it's all because of the audience, the chat room, and all of the fun things we do here. But now you've got something going on. You and I, whenever you and Don Arnold get together, nobody ever knows what's going to happen. So tell us what you guys have been up to, Gordo.
All right. Well, we've pulled together, I think, an interesting view of the great D-Star system that Icom America has worked so hard to develop, and now other manufacturers are wanting to get in and show that they can help support all of the D-Star operators. But before we talk about D-Star, this weekend, listen for our call, WB608 California QSO Party, and then John Amadeo, KA6 Last Man Standing. He says that when they do their taping of the show, boy, those are the old days, when they do the what everyone does to memorize the show for later playback, on October 11, they're going to have Ed and Amy, and you know them. They are the dstarinfo.com experts. They're going to be aboard for the transmission from the studios, and we'll be able to pick them up on Reflector 30 Charlie. 30C, and that is October 11th. So all you D-Star folks, Reflector 30C, John Amadeo says they'll put out a big signal from KA6, Last Man Standing. And Bob and I and others on the cast will look forward to seeing you at Pacificon, October 14, 15, and 16. Randy will be there as well, and some of our net controllers will be at Pacificon. So, Bob, we're going to have our hands full there. Finally, a note from EA7 Juliet X-Ray. That's Rod. He says, take a look at hamradio.es show, because they're mounting a Sahara Desert relief operation using ham radio, and that is just great. We'll give you more from Rod next week, and we'll talk all about the hard work that they're doing. Well, let's now put on our D-Star hats. We've got our DX Engineering shirts on, and see how Don Arnold W6 GPS is doing. And Don, what have you got that is new for ham radio and D-Star? Don?
Hey, everybody. This is Don W6 GPS, a.k.a. Don Star, if you want to get my attention. And I'm going to try to this is what we got right here, folks. And I have to do this backwards. This is the new Kenwood THD74. It's the new APRS D-Star radio. Just came out. I happened to get a hold of it at the Huntsville Ham Fest, and I had a great time. In fact, I haven't given it back. So just go to the next slide there. People were asking, well, what's it like? It's a great radio. It's got built-in APRS and D-Star. This is the THD72, which is the APRS radio. Go ahead, next one. And what we have right up here is we've got, yeah, there it is right there. It's got icon-driven menus, so that's real easy to access different aspects of the radio. Next. It's got a built-in GPS, and this GPS really works good. It's amazing how just a small little patch antenna, about maybe 3/8 of an inch square, can pick up all this information and give you your position. Next. Probably about the best thing that I'll back up one there, number 3. But this right here is the micro USB port and the micro SD. Next. Probably the biggest thing that that I was impressed with is the construction. It's a solid aluminum alloy chassis. Next. In fact, I got Curious George there. I got it. My friend Kevin, KI4LAX, he got all excited, and I said, hey, I want to see what's the inside of this, but it's quality construction, commercial grade construction from Kenwood. You know, they're famous for their commercial radios. Next. What I was going to mention before, and we'll see it again, was the screen is probably the most impressive I've seen of anything. It's a TFT display, very detailed information, but it also has a FM radio built inside. And next one. And I will say I won't play it for you right now, but it does sound great. Next. So Kenwood, what they did is they gave me this radio to play around with because of the APRS functions, and that's slide number 8. And so I got into the APRS functions to see how it worked, and it works very, very similar to the D72. Next one. The menus are very, very easy to get to. If you have a D72, you're going to see that they look very, very similar. Again, the display is extra crisp and extra sharp. Go ahead. So there's tactical information that I beaconed with D72. You can see that I'm on 445, 400 megahertz. Go ahead. And that's just my course in altitude. I wasn't moving. Next. So this is the kind of information you get from the APRS sides. I really, really like that display that gives you the location where you are in reference to the beaconing station. Next. And there's my latitude, longitude, etc. Go ahead. And this right here, again, it has a QSY function to where I can actually hit a button and it will tune to 445-400. Next. So you push a multi-toggle button. It's right here, that multi-toggle button right there. And next, and automatically tunes to the frequency if you have that QSY information. Go ahead. And it will also pick up weather information, weather stations. Next. Probably the thing that really got me is the fact that with D-Star, it does have D-Star. I've only been on D-Star for a month, and I've been very, very excited. So let's just keep on moving on to the next one. So there's my repeater, and you can see the APRS there at the bottom. Let's see, right over here. I have to do this backwards anyway. Here's the APRS transmitting. I'm transmitting APRS information. In fact, if you go to APRS.fi and put in W6 GPS, you'll see exactly what I'm transmitting. Next. And I send out information. So now people can see that I'm on D-Star. They can also see that I'm on frequency. So that's kind of the APRS portion of the radio. Now for D-Star, when a station comes up, gives its identification, and people can put where they're located at. Next. And once you can also go in there and edit the receive history. And I was able to put Jeff's name in there. It's nice and big, so if it was a special contact or a friend, then it'll get my attention. Next. And there's the same thing. This was a local friend of mine, George, in Chattanooga. But what I'm also, now the other thing that really impressed me was there's transmit and receive audio equalization. So inside the radio, go ahead. It has a, for receive, or for transmit, it's got a 4-band EQ, so you can adjust your microphone if you have a different kind of mic. In fact, I have like a Bluetooth headset right here that I can adjust the audio for, or just a standard microphone. Maybe somebody has a higher pitch voice where you can roll it up higher, roll it up lower. So for transmit, it's 4-band. Go ahead. And for receive audio, for guys like me, I'm kind of losing my hearing. But what I could do is I could boost up some frequencies so I can hear it real good. Next. So there's a station list. This is now we're in the D-Star mode, but this is the APRS information. Go ahead. So what I did is the digipeater sent my call out, and here's what's real exciting to me is the fact that it shows people on the APRS network that I am a D-Star operator on my repeater W4PL. And then I have a little message saying Kenwood, TH D74. But next, I could push the QSY information button and I could tune. Go ahead. So now I can automatically be tuned. So like if I wanted to see my buddy Mark down there in Atlanta and I saw him on APRS, but I could also see it was on D-Star. By one touch of the button, I can get and be able to communicate to him. Next. So you can also get GPS information over the D-Star network. I'm still kind of playing around with that. I can't really talk too much about it because I just got the radio and just figuring things out. It's been pretty exciting. But it does transmit D-Star, or it does transmit latitude and longitude information in the D-Star mode. Next. So. Is this video coming up? If this is video coming up, somewhere in here I got a little piece of video, but this last weekend I was on the D-Star QSO party, and the Kenwood was able to keep a history of some of the stations I worked. I worked 15 news stations that I've never been able to work on HF. I've been in ham radio for 40 years, so it's pretty exciting. Next. Next. So maybe about 4 years ago, I played with D-Star, but now what I found out is you got to be close to the repeater, that kind of things. You can actually talk on two radios to each other. you can talk over the network. I've got a graphic of the reflectors, but basically this is a DVAP, and so my radio is talking to this little receiver. It's a frequency agile receiver and a transmitter, and basically it takes that information through my computer. And right now I'm currently on 14 Charlie with my DVAP. So if I'm not close to a D-Star repeater, I'm able to take the radio, the DVAP, and my computer. And if I got a Wi-Fi connection, in fact, I got Wi-Fi in my car. I got a GM product. It's got a hotspot in the car. Next.
Is this the
So here's a little bit of QSOs from over the weekend on the D-Star QSO party. That's all right. So anyway, this right here is from the QSO party, D-Star QSO party. And even my wife was amazed. She just says, where that? I said, this guy's from China. This guy's from... So I have people all over the world coming into my network just with this little radio right here.
Oscar, this is Kilo 4, Radio United.
Okay, you get an idea there. Next. So anyway, I do have a few people standing by here, and so I'm going to just make a quick call to 14 Charlie. It's W6 GPS 14 Charlie, asking for quick check-ins. Tell me where you're located, and call sign. Just real quick contacts here for live demo on Ham Nation with D-Star, W6 GPS Chattanooga.
The tension builds.
The tension does build. Oh, that's right. Hang on just a second. Hang on. Okay, let's try that again, folks. All right. This time for an edit. That's right, Obi-Wan. The power force is with me. Listen, folks. We're going to try this again. There we are. They're listening in now. Hang on. We're going to do a quick edit here. Yeah, we hear you. Okay, this is W6 GPS. Okay, nice, loud and clear. Let's hear what we're D-Star demonstration. Sorry about that, everybody. W6 GPS standing by for some check-ins.
05, Delta Whiskey. 5, Uniform Sierra Alpha, Mike. South 4 Northwest Boston. Delta Alpha, Kilo Bravo 9, Victor, Zulu Uniform, Dave, and India.
All right, Donnie. Hey,
All
Donnie.
right.
I saw that you had it on a shortwave frequency. Does that radio also do double sideband shortwave receive?
It does. Sideband, upper and lower, does AM, does FM, it does D-Star. I don't have an external antenna. I was hoping I can get Mr. Randall's broadcast, but I just it's just the wrong wavelength. Don't have that quite set up yet. But anyway.
Oh, that's great, Donnie. WTWW with Twitty the kitty cat also there as well. All right, Donnie, let's do a wrap, and then we're going to go back to Bob. Go ahead, Donnie, for a final.
Okay, folks, listen. I am new to D-Star. I'm excited about D-Star. You got Icom's got a D-Star radio. They got lots of D-Star radios. Ken was just getting into D-Star. It sounds great. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing a few more things about D-Star, and I'm going to be teaching it from the newbie standpoint. I know I've made a lot of mistakes tonight, but I'm so excited about D-Star. Hey, look, this is what it's all about. Got this huge network. You could talk on DVAP. You could talk on a dongle. You could talk on the radio, and it all goes to the cloud, to the internet. And then, sorry about that focus there, buddy. But anyway, the thing is, you're communicating. You're all grouped together. And my D-Star experience couldn't have been better over the weekend on the D-Star QSO party, and it was just great. So I'm excited about D-Star. And some of you are thinking it's It's just way too complicated. Well, folks, if you go to my YouTube channel, W6GPS, put that in the search window. I've got how-tos to set up a Kenwood radio, but also I'll be explaining more about D-Star. It's really, really not that complicated, folks. Back to you, Gordo.
All right. Thanks, Donnie. W6 GPS, and he'll be monitoring 14 Charlie after the show. So for those that want to go direct with Don via D-Star, I've got my rig here, and I hope to meet you there as well, Donnie. So, Bob, that's our story. And Donnie, thank you so much. We brought this show for Donnie to present at the very last minute, but Don, you did a great job. So, Bob, back to you. Gordo, WB6NOA, Don, W6 GPS. Thanks, Don.
That's great. You can always rely on Don. Throw it to him and something will happen. Nice job. And maybe we should get him and George together and do some dual green screens or something.
There you
Who
go.
knows? Well, that's great. And we need to, me and Gordo, we need to learn more about D-Star. That's for sure.
Roger that.
And, well, I appreciate you doing all that work. I was listening to all of you on 5085. I turned the audio down here, and just a little bit of delay, of course, the way they're pulling it in. But, boy, audio's great over there. Of course, it's 60 over 9. Why not? You know, they play classic rock music a lot of times late night. I listen to it quite often. So after the show, you go up there and listen to some of their great music. But right now, we're going to go watch a little bit about Icom. And, you know, these are the people that really brought D-Star to amateur radio. So let's see what else new they have for us.
September is National Preparedness Month. Set some time aside and review your emergency communications plan for air, land, or sea. Make sure your Icom equipment is ready to go for any situation. ID 5100A has taken innovation and mobility to the next level. With its touchscreen and internal GPS, this radio is a must-have while assessing a situation. The large 5.5-inch display responds naturally to the touch. DV-DV Dual Watch receives both FM-FM and FM-DB mode signals simultaneously. Show your position, course, and speed with the integrated GPS receiver, and the optional VS3 Bluetooth headset provides hands-free communication. Connect your Android to Icom's most popular dual-band transceiver, the ID51A+. Filled with enhanced functions and digital features, you won't want to be without this handheld communication solution. Send and receive text messages and photos. Transfer data 3.5 times faster with DV Fast Data Mode. Communicate with the touch of your fingertips. Perfect for small spaces, the IC7100 is the ideal D-Star option for wherever you may be. Angled control head and touchscreen for quick, intuitive operation, large internal speaker for clear digital audio, and it's perfect for multiband and all-mode communications. Get more information on all the great Icom radios at icomamerica.com/amateur. And you can tune in and enter to win after each episode of Ham Nation. Go to icomamerica.com/hamnation. Learn how you could win a t-shirt or a hat and be entered in the monthly grand prize drawing for a new radio. For September, it's going to be the Icom ID 51A+, dual band, dual watch VHF, UHF digital transceiver, analog and D-Star, near me repeater function, enhanced DPRS, fast DV data mode, and a lot more. So go to icomamerica.com/hamnation after this and each episode of Ham Nation. Register to win. Sign up, good luck, and don't forget to follow Icom America Inc. on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks, Icom, for making Ham Nation possible. And now it's time to get our other Don in here, Don Wilbanks, for this week's news.
Oh,
Don,
sorry.
Don.
Do a little light reading here. We'll talk about these guys here in just a sec. But first, why don't we get into the news of the week from Amateur Radio Newsline? From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2030, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, September 28th, 2016. First up this week, a new distance record.
Roger Croft's VK4YB in Queensland, Australia, and Steve McDonald VE7SL in British Columbia were able to accomplish a first. On September 15 on 475.3 kilohertz, that's the 630 metre band, the Australian and Canadian completed an unprecedented contact on the air using JT9 digital mode. The QSO was called historic by John Langridge, KB5NJD, who holds an FCC Part 5 experimental license, WG2XIQ. John, who was in touch with both amateurs, called it the longest two-way QSO ever conducted on 630 metres. That's not the only encouraging sign of success for 630 metres. In California, another amateur, John Lowe, NU60, reported that Roger VK4YB had heard his WI2XBQ experimental service beacon on September 14, just a day earlier, while he was running very low power and a 43-foot vertical on whisper mode. Although both Canada and Australia can operate on 630 metres, that frequency is not available for use in the US. A proposed new secondary allocation for 630 metres was proposed in an April 2015 FCC report. Action is still pending. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm John Williams, VK4JJW.
The leaves may be coming down in some parts of the U.S., but antennas are going up, and a group of like-minded amateurs are seizing this change of seasons.
If you enjoy operating at 100 watts or even less, here's a high-powered event to enjoy with your low-power operation. The 100 watts in a wire ham radio community wants everyone to grab their portable radios and head outdoors on October 8th and 9th and get on the air. The event is called Fallout. Operators are being encouraged to call CQ 100 watts in a wire Fallout on any and all bands, whether the location is a city, state, or national park, or somewhere else outdoors, and whether hams operate solo or as a group or club. The idea is to get outdoors while the temperatures are still friendly and listen for some friendly voices as well. If you're a member of the 100 watts in a wire community, exchange your 100 watts ID numbers with one another. If you're not a member of the community, participate anyway and collect QSOs with members. Fall will be getting underway. What better time to harvest a bumper crop of QSL cards? For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Neil Rapp, WB9VPG.
Finally this week, a plea from Oklahoma hams seeking help restoring a tower and antenna following some serious storm damage. And this isn't just any tower and antenna. They belong to a pair of historic warships.
The USS Batfish, a World War II submarine that sank numerous enemy vessels in battle, stood strong against one storm last July when it swept through Oklahoma. But the same cannot be said for the amateur radio tower near the vessel's home in Muskogee War Memorial Park. Winds, clocked at times at 140 miles an hour, took down the tower used by the USS Oklahoma and USS Batfish Amateur Radio Club. It also damaged the vertical antenna on the Batfish. The club uses the call signs WW2SUB and WW2OK for the Batfish and the Oklahoma, respectively, and is looking to get repairs done before December 7th and the 75th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. The club's president, Mitch Hull, KE5HWW, asked that hams respond to the club's GoFundMe page or contribute via PayPal to treasurer Gary Birch, W5ODS. You'll find both links in this week's newscast script on the Amateur Radio Newsline website. Mitch says that donations are not tax deductible, but they would most certainly be appreciated. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Mike Askins, KE5CXP in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
We encourage you to help keep these historic vessels on the air. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at www.arnewsline.org. With John Williams, VK4JJW, Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, Mike Askins, KE5CXP, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5W, 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. And let's talk a little solar weather. We don't have Tamitha either live nor Memorex with us tonight, but I was able to go onto her Twitter page, and this is the kind of thing that you'll see on her Twitter page. She posts this all the time. Why is the space weather so stormy? Well, you can see right there, there's the Earth strike zone and a coronal hole that's should be hitting the Earth now, and then another coronal hole will cause storming at Earth again later on in the week. So we go to the next one here, and we'll take a look at the solar storm conditions, and you can take a look that at the higher latitudes, it doesn't really affect us much, but the lower latitudes, We can expect some minor storms right on through October 1st, and then active on the 2nd, and then unsettled on the 3rd. And then we have the solar flare and particle radiation storm 5-day outlook. Not much of a chance of anything going on there. And this is what her Twitter feed looks like. If you get a chance, follow her on Twitter. It's at Tamitha Scove. And you will just see all kinds of cool things on her Twitter feed. All the stuff that she gives you every week here on Ham Nation, she will give you almost to the minute of it happening on Twitter. And she's up all hours of the day and night. So be sure to follow at Tamitha Scove on Twitter. Good stuff. Thank you, Dr. T. We hope to have you back here with us very soon. Now, you know, we're going to talk about DX engineering here for a sec. And Sunday was my birthday. And my wife asked me, what would you like for your birthday? I just said, well, just knock yourself out. There's all kinds of stuff here in the DX engineering catalog. Unfortunately, I didn't get anything out of the catalog except for this hat, which DX Engineering sent me. Thanks, guys. It's my birthday present right here, and I'm wearing it proudly. I love DX Engineering, and you will too. And if you're in a portable HF operation, you probably heard of Transworld Antenna. It's a compact design, gives you plenty of performance in a rugged portable package, and DX Engineering recently purchased Transworld Antennas that will ensure that the Transworld Antenna name will continue to be out there and available to discerning hams across this fine globe that we inhabit. The antenna and related components will remain virtually unchanged from the original design specs. They now just will bear the DX Engineering name. That means it's also going to be backed by DX Engineering's world-class manufacturing and customer support. The DX Engineering Transworld Antenna is essentially a basic structure consisting of a top, bottom, and center sections. They have an interchangeable array box. Center sections are sold separately for the other bands that you want. To make selecting the right Transworld antenna setup easier, DX Engineering has a series of handy packages that demonstrate the strengths of the antenna for specific operating styles. For instance, the 5-band Explorer will give you 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10-meter coverage with manual band switching. Includes an optional portable quadrastand, basic antenna structure, and a handy travel bag, too. The 5-band Adventurer, very similar to the 5-band Explorer with the addition of automatic band switching, and the travel bag is available separately. Then there is the band-specific Solar Explorer. It's a monoband antenna. It gives you an impressive presence on select HF bands, and the packages currently available for the Solo are 80, 40, and 30. I expect other packages for more HF bands coming up next year in 2017. The 5-band Globetrotter is a stealthy base station package paired with the Transworld permanent mounting pole. And like the 5-band Adventurer, the Globetrotter gives you 20 through 10 coverage with automatic band switching, and DX Engineering has already begun production of the Transworld antenna and related accessories. You can find them by using keyword TW antenna in the search box at dxengineering.com. And that's where you want to go, dxengineering.com. You can shop until you drop, literally. DX Engineering ships faster than anybody else in the industry. If you get your order in by 10 p.m. Eastern, if it's in stock, it'll be on a truck headed your way tonight. Proven products, expert advice, the best people in the business, the friendliest people in the business. You're going to love them. DX Engineering helps you shrink the globe. You can request your catalog or go online. In fact, go online and request your catalog. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. dxengineering.com/hamnation. dxengineering.com/hamnation. You're going to love them. And we thank them so much for helping us put Ham Nation on the air. We couldn't do it without them. So, George, that's the story from here. I'm going to continue perusing, and you can do whatever it is that you do over in your little neck of the woods there.
Okay, Don. I will do that. By the way, Dr. Scove just didn't sound the same to me tonight for some reason, but
well, I did my best, but you know, I'm no Tamitha, as we all can plainly see.
Well, you know, recently I was at the Huntsville Ham Fest, and Gordo was over there too. We had an opportunity to look at a great MCOM van there, and I just released a video on that. Well, I didn't release it. Icom America has got it on their YouTube channel, but I produced it. I've got some clips here just to give you a little taste of what this van was like. We can barely skim the surface, but let's take a look at it.
I heard this van was going to be here, and I found it. It's MCOM 1.
Hi, Ray.
Hello, George, and everybody out there. Good to see you here, and good to be in Huntsville, even though it's a little bit wet.
It is quite a little bit wet out there right now, and we've got another friend here. This is Mike. What's your last name?
Lee, L-E-E.
Mike Lee, and you're with, tell us what organization you're with.
I'm with Flagler County Emergency Management, and I'm also a ham, like the rest of you. And we've built this vehicle basically to support public safety. Of course, you can't have just a public safety vehicle. You have to have amateur radio equipment as well, because they're a lot of times the eyes and ears for public safety, just like having GMRS capability and MERS and FRS and everything else.
So this is a county in Florida?
This is the county just north of Daytona Beach, Flagler County, and we're actually out of Palm Coast, Florida.
Okay. So then the folks down there know very well ham radio plays a big part in emergency communications.
They do indeed. In fact, Flagler County was the first county in the state of Florida to be certified by the National Weather Service for Skywarn.
Well, let's take a look around the vehicle. I'm going to tap into both of y'all to tell me what it is I'm looking at, because I don't know all the land mobile stuff.
All right, well, we're going to give you a little bit of light in this area. George, the first one here is a land mobile radio that is Part 80 certified, so it can be used as a marine base station. Right next to it is the ICV 8000. It's not powered up right now in this configuration.
And that's an amateur radio.
Yes, that is an amateur radio, 2-meter, 75-watt 2-meter radio. Then right next to it, that has the number 903 right above it, is a aviation mobile. Then we have two of our P25, our 9511s set up. Program, Mike?
This one is programmed as VHF, so we have, as an example, all of the Florida Forestry Service frequencies on it. We've got a number of others, such as railroad frequencies on it. We've got MERS on it, on VHF, and then, of course, we're authorized to use it for amateur, too, if we need to. Then next to it is a UHF version, kind of a twin, if you will.
We have an IC 7100 body, and then a body for our F8101, which is our commercial HF product. Then to it is a communications console with two ID 5100s right above it. And then a couple of control heads for those two HF radios that we just saw. The F8101 is an ALE compatible HF radio. It's 150 watts, a little bit larger body, more heat dissipation, and then the 7100 right next to it.
Unlike normal satellite telephone, this one's rather unique. It's called MSAT. It's used by every county in the state of Florida, and in fact in many states throughout the U.S., including Hawaii, Puerto Rico, as well as Alaska, of course. One of the purposes of this vehicle is to be able to bridge different kinds of RF, both on the marine side, the airband side, the Part 90 side, and if necessary, the Part 97 side as well. Below that's just a simple Windows 7 computer. Next to that here is a Green Heron rotator controller. You saw the mast outside. We've got a tail twister up there. And right now, we have a 20/6 meter hex beam from Radio Waves, and we chose them not because of the amateur side per se, but they're the only ones that make custom antennas. So they actually make a hex beam where we can have federal frequencies, different length wires, of course, and we can operate ALE and have a 2-element directional with a really good front-to-back ratio for a non-amateur antenna. Down on the bottom here, we have 400 amp hours of AGM battery. We're using batteries from Lifeline. On top of that, here we've got a 2,000-watt inverter charger. So obviously, if we're operating off battery power, we don't have shore power or generator backup. We can operate, for example, our computer here, and we've got a couple of other accessories that are AC only.
George, as you look through here, you see a lot of lot of tightly bundled wires. Everything's behind, bundled together nicely. But if you look up higher, you're going to see all these raw wires out here. You have any idea why we do that?
I would say because you want to be prepared in an emergency that you can rewire this thing to operate completely differently.
Wow, he read the script, didn't he, Mike?
He was pretty good. The real reason is very, very close. We actually leave these open just for demonstration purposes. So when we were at APCO earlier this week, on Monday, Tuesday, we use this to be able to show people that we don't have two things. Number one, you don't see anything here that's flush mount like you do on a lot of public safety vehicles. And the philosophy there was very intentional in that if something's flush mount, you're not going to want to change it because you're going to have to cut a new panel and everything else. Similarly here, if this was all behind some very, very elaborate flush mounting, you wouldn't want to change the wiring either. And that's contrary to what we wanted to do. This vehicle, the vehicle itself is 12 years old. But it's constantly, over the years, changed missions. It's changed equipment. A great example, just recently in the last 10 weeks, we got some new P25 capable equipment. Prior to that, we had some previous generation equipment. We want to be able to swap it quickly, rewire it really quickly, and be able to go, kind of a run and gun type of a situation. We might, for example, be supporting the feds, and so we might need to install a Fed radio. We don't want to be able to have to take apart a flush mount panel or wiring harnesses that are just immovable. So we wanted the capability to be really flexible on a dime, very nimble, and be able to change equipment or facilities based on mission.
We have a redundant set of P25 mobiles here. And then we come back to a Harris radio, which is an EDAX radio that they use in Flagler County. A little bit farther back, we have a stack with a switch, two Icom VEPG3s, which are the interoperability boxes, which Mike will explain how he's got those configured, as well as an IP1000C, and then a Gulfstream SIP server for a phone system. Hiding right behind it, the Icom AP90, which is an access point, a Wi-Fi access point. This has some unique capabilities with some of the Icom IP branded product. But Mike, can you please explain how you have your switch and your VEPG3s configured?
Sure. So we have two VEPG3s on the bottom here. They're identical except the way that they're programmed. Each of these boxes supports 4 radio interfaces. So we have a total of 8 that can be used simultaneously. They can be bridged, all 4 radios on one of the VEPG3s, or they can bridge those 2 different VEPG3 boxes. Everything is IP. Once it comes into the bridge controller, for example, this 800 megahertz radio comes into the bridge controller using analog, but immediately it does an analog to digital conversion. And everything after that is digital, unless you're going to another destination radio, in which case, of course, it does a digital to analog conversion. But that's what gives us the capability to do some rather unique things. Unlike most public safety systems, we can not only bridge between radios, which is important, because all public safety folks don't want to carry another radio. Their philosophy is, I want to carry the radio that I'm accustomed to, the one that I'm very familiar with. I've got spare batteries for it. I've got chargers in my car, all of those things. They want to carry their own radio, and they want us as COMLs, communication leaders or communication techs, to do all the background magic for them to be able to communicate to whatever destination they're trying to go to. Great example. We have situations where we might have a battalion chief that's using an 800 megahertz radio, and he might want to talk to an airband radio for an out-of-area asset, like a helicopter. And he doesn't have an airband radio, a portable, so we can bridge them directly from a Harris EDAX system directly into airband using his own radio he'll be able to talk to that helicopter, and vice versa, of course. So these two boxes basically give us the capability to bridge the radios, but what's unique is because it's all IP or digital on the back end, we can also have a radio talk to something like this, an IP phone.
Anything to anything. I like that idea.
Well, and George, you know, we've seen much larger vehicles before, but usually those larger vehicles have a conference room, has a big whiteboard. It's really meant as an incident command post or command facility. For us, because we're radio guys, commercial, public safety, as well as ham, what we thought was, and we got validated at APCO earlier this week in Orlando, was that very few agencies have a purpose-built, mission-compatible vehicle that does only communications.
Barely able to skim the surface on that van since we only had a few minutes here, but you can get the full video at Icom's YouTube page. Boy, there's a lot more in there than just what we looked at right there. Mike Lee, congratulations on a great MCOM van there. It looks like they thought of everything. Boy, I just couldn't hardly believe what I was seeing. And I understood what he was saying, too. That made it even better for me. Well, I've got a few things to give away here. You know, last week I asked a question: which of the following is an advantage of ceramic capacitors as compared to other types of capacitors? And this came from the General Amateur Radio exam. A, tight tolerances. B, high stability. C, high capacitance for given volume. Or D, comparatively low cost. And we had a winner on that. It's John Sager, W7SAG. He said the advantage of a ceramic capacitor is relatively low cost. And if I would have thought about it, I would have got one here to show you. But yeah, really cheap capacitors. And you see them used a good bit, you know, where it's not a supercritical application. What are we going to give him? Well, it's this MFJ 113 giant LED clock, if I can get it in frame here. A super nice clock. Displays 12 or 24 hours, built-in alarm. Really going to be great in his shack there. For next week, well, you know, DX Engineering doesn't just make fine T-shirts and hats, as Don had on a while ago. They make some really nice coax patch cables as well. And we're going to give away DX Engineering 12-foot DXE 8X coax with their custom connectors on it. A really nice cable. I mean, you know, I haven't cut into it because I don't want to ruin it, but just looking through the insulation here, I can tell that's got some good shielding up in there. So answer this also from the general exam: which of the following components should be added to an inductor to increase the inductance? Your choices are A, a capacitor in series, B, a resistor in parallel, C, an inductor in parallel, or D, an inductor in series. If you think you know the answer to that, send it to me, hamnationcontest@gmail.com, and you might be next week's lucky winner. And we're going to be back in just a moment with Dale, but first we got a little video here on the upcoming Pacificon from Randy.
Pacificon, the ARRL Pacific Division Ham Radio Convention. 3 great days, Friday through Sunday, October 14th through the 16th, 2016. Held at the San Ramon Marriott Hotel and Conference Center. Come to Pacificon to learn something new from many of the forums. Learn more about antennas by attending the all-day Friday antenna seminar. Vendor hall for new equipment, and the outdoor swap meet for the old gear and treasures. Share information with old and make new friends. Youth activities. Kit building. Special event station. One-day license prep class to prepare you for your technician license. License exam testing for new and upgrading. Start Saturday off with breakfast with Gordon West. Attend the Saturday evening banquet with keynote speaker Tom Gallagher, NY2RF, ARRL's new CEO. And at midnight, attend the Wolfhong initiation ceremony. For more information, go to pacificon.org.
Pacificon is one nice ham fest. I went to it a few years ago, and I got to say, if you're in that part of the U.S., you really need to try to drop in there. Well, now let's bring in Dale and see what's going on in the wide, wide world of Ham Nation videos.
Okay, George, thanks a lot. And tonight we've got two videos for you. One is from a recent National Parks on the Air activation. And we have the second of a 6-part series for DIY fans. Let's roll the first video now, Brian, if you will. It was produced by Mark, W4MPS. Mark didn't have a permanent radio installation in his car, so he had to come up with a solution to quickly operate fixed mobile. And to do this, he made a ham shack on a board. Mark cut 2 pieces of MDF. One holds his laptop computer and a CW key. The other just sits on his lap while operating. The second board contains the FT857D, an antenna tuner, and a wind key, along with Anderson power strips. The equipment's secured to the board with a combination of elastic tie downs. He connects the USB and other cables after he gets seated. For power, Mark uses a professionally installed fused DC cable hidden under the passenger seat. He just plugs it in when he's ready to operate.
WB9 Delta Lima Charlie,
WB9 Delta Lima Charlie, thank you. Good morning. You're 5-9 and Bravo Foxtrot 08.
Roger, thanks. Just got you on CW a few minutes ago. You're 5-9 in Indiana, over. Good luck.
Roger. Thanks for both. Appreciate it. 7-3. Have a good day. This is W4 Mike Papa Sierra QRZ. Whiskey 1 Charlie X-Ray. Good morning. Thank you. You're 5-9 and Bravo Foxtrot 08.
QSL, thanks for the new one. You're a 5-9 up here in Vermont, over.
Good signal from Vermont here at the park. Thanks very much. 7-3 W4 Mike Papa Sierra. November 9 Lima Whiskey Echo. Thanks. You're 5-9 and Bravo Foxtrot 08. Thank you. Whiskey 4 Golf Hotel. Good morning. You're 5-9 and Bravo Foxtrot 08.
QSL, you are 5757 South Carolina. QSL?
QSL, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 7-3.
Kilowatt Alpha 3, Quebec, London, Foxtrot. Thank you very much for the activation. Much appreciated. You're also 5-9 from Yorkton, Pennsylvania. Name is Scott. Sierra, Charlie, Oscar, Tango. With 8, Romeo, Echo, Sierra, W8. Okay, you're also 5-9 in Southwest Ohio. Bob.
Okay, Bob. QSL, thanks for the call. 7-3.
Kilo, radio, forward, uniform Alpha, 5-9, Georgia. Kilo, Charlie, we can't go Zulu United, uniform Victor.
KC8 Tango Zulu United. Thanks. You're 5-9 and Bravo Foxtrot 08.
Your 5-9 is in Cleveland, Ohio.
Nice signal from Cleveland. Thanks for the call.
Kilo, Mike 4, Echo, Oscar, Golf. Roger, 5-9 in Georgia.
Thanks for Georgia. 7-3 W4 Mike Papa Sierra.
Whiskey Bravo 4, Sierra Uniform Victor. QSL, you're 5-9 Kentucky. Thank you for November 7 call. You're 5-5 in Indiana. KI4OCD. I appreciate that. You're 5-9 plus down here in the state of South Carolina, right outside of Spartanburg. The name is Charlie. I appreciate it, and you have a great day. I hope you get a lot of check-ins with that. 73s for now. This is KI4OC and a B.
Roger. Thanks for the Palmetto States.
Kilo Charlie 8 Golf Echo.
Okay, last one. Kilo Charlie 8 Golf Echo 5-9 Bravo Foxtrot 08.
Roger, 5-9 in Michigan. Thanks for the contact.
Roger, thanks for the call. I'm going to QSY now to 20-meter sideband, W4 MPS. Whiskey 4, Mike Papa Sierra, calling CQ National Parks on the air and listening.
November 0 Delta Oscar Whiskey, 5-9 in Minnesota. Name is Rick, and thanks for the new activation.
KG5GJT, thanks for the call. You're 5-9 in Bravo Foxtrot 08.
Copy, you're 5-9 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Thank you for the activation.
Well, thanks, Mark, for letting our Ham Nation viewers see your NPOTA, the National Parks on the Air operation. We're going to switch now to Canada, pick up a DIY series part 2 from Bob Rice. He's VE3HKY. Tonight he shows us how to build a multi-tapped coil from scratch using the coil form he showed us how to build last week in our first episode of this series. Here's Bob.
We'll need 4 tap points for each coil. And this I find is very easy in terms of measuring. I just simply cut them off. I use my vice jaw as my means of measuring and sizing. It's about the simplest thing I can think of in terms of being able to cut the wires and have them all uniform length. And we'll just cut the first 4. Okay, what we're doing is we're putting the pins in. And we have 4 holes. And I've already got 3 of them in, and I'm just putting the 4th one in. And it's just a matter of putting them in just far enough to get them started. They don't have to be in as far as they're going to be. We're just, at this point, just getting them started in the hole. And there we are. We have all 4 in. And now we'll show you how we set them so they're all the same length. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to let the vise actually set the depth. We take a nut, put a nut over the copper, which will be our tap point, and then just simply close the jaws in on the vise. So that one's set, and we just continue on, and eventually all 4 of them will be set for the right length. Okay, we're ready to demonstrate winding the coil. The hole that we created, 11 turns from the end, we're using that. We have a wire going through it. And now we'll simply wrap it around. And when we're really doing this, and I have the wire held taut, and I'm walking or working my way towards the wire, this goes much easier. But I think sufficient here to give you a bit of an example. The wire will just snap in. It's hard not to wind it correctly because the wire just tracks beautifully. Okay, now I've got to where I would have my first tap point. And so what you do is you take the wire, and I'm using this tool which is meant to remove insulation. And you just kind of scrape it. Don't go any further than you have to. And after you've got it as much as you're going to get off with that tool, just take some emery cloth and do a real good job. If you don't, it's going to come back to haunt you. Make sure that you got it nice and clean. Now what you do is you just continue on, and then you wrap the wire around the post. You wrap it around the post. When you have it wrapped around, find your way back into the groove and keep going. And just continue in the same manner until you get to the next one. Now what I'll do is I'll set this up in the vise because I wanted to show you the next step when you have all this completed, and it's soldering. And there's a way of soldering these that I think makes life very, very easy. And we'll have a look at that. You just put it in the vise, just enough to hold it so it doesn't try to unwind itself. Okay, what I wanted to mention about soldering is I don't solder anything electronic without liquid flux. This is a hypodermic needle that I have that's filled with flux. You use very, very, very little of it, but it does a marvelous job. And so I would just squirt a tiny bit of flux, as you see there, onto that point, and then I would solder it.
Well, thanks, Bob. In our next video segment, Bob's going to be showing us how to build a mast-mounted PVC standoff for the tower. This is a great video series for anyone interested in homebrew or DIY. So hope you're enjoying it. There's 4 more in Bob's series. Hopefully, we'll be back on October 12th with a number of shack photos, along with another episode from Bob's DIY video series. In the meantime, please do send your favorite shack photos and your favorite videos to hamnationvideos@twit.tv. Right now, let's switch out to Canyon City, Colorado, in the studio where Amanda's waiting to bring us the latest from the chat room. Amanda, take it away.
Well, thank you, Dale. Very much. Wonderful videos there, by the way. Couple of announcements. First, I'd like to say happy birthday to N2KOJ. That's Eric King of Jersey. He's always in our chat room. And also, of course, we just missed Don's birthday as well, AE5DW. So happy birthday, you two. I hear there's some pretty important ones coming up, too. Maybe a Mr. Heil. He might be having one in a week or so. So stay tuned for that as well. All right, a couple questions here. Gordo, let's go to you first. Is there a 10 meter to 160 meter wire antenna that you can build on your property if you have about an acre or so?
10 meters through 160. If one were to come out with, let's say, an off-center fed dipole, the Wyndham antenna, yes, you could go ahead, and if you follow the instructions carefully to feed it 1/3 on one side, 2/3 on the other side, and work on 160 meters up, it would work. And even a little dog leg or two to get it within that 1 acre of property, it would work. So I would look at the off-center fed Wyndham as a great way to get on to 160 meters through 10 meters. And the tuner built into more modern single sideband HF radios, we actually call them trimmers. That trimmer should tune down any errant SWR and give it a good match, and it would play well, nice and long.
Very good. And you guys, if you are thinking about doing a wire antenna like that, do it now. So you'll be ready for the DX contest that's coming up at the end of October. And I'm sure Val will be telling us more about that. One more question about that, Gordo. What balun do you recommend? 4-to-1, 2-to-1?
I would probably, Amanda, suggest a 4-to-1 balun for the off-center fed Wyndham. But, you know, for the price that one would pay for a 4-to-1 current balun, you could just about buy from Radio Works or Radio Waves the entire Wyndham antenna all the way down to 160. And if you got enough acreage, you should be able to get it up. A 4-to-1 balun included with the commercially made Wyndham antennas will bring that SWR down to nearly flat, easily adjusted by your rig's built-in HF antenna trimmer.
Very good. Thank you, Gordo, for that info. George, the next question is going to go to you, and I've been trying to catch Bob to ask him this, but I bet you have the answer too. Recently, us here, we were installing a subwoofer in Jeff's Jeep, as well as his radio equipment and such. We kept seeing things advertised about the wire being oxygen-free. Is this new advertising? Do you need to be looking for oxygen-free wire for things? Is that a thing?
Yeah, there is some oxygen-free cable being advertised out there. It's developed to help you easily part with your money, I think. I don't see any advantage at all to it. I mean, there's been tests done scientifically where they used some of this oxygen-free speaker cable, and they compared it to barbed wire, and that worked just as well.
Really?
So,
okay,
no.
so don't fall under the gimmick of paying more money for cable that says that it's oxygen-free. And I'll bring this up again sometime. And one person in chat is saying, I never pay for my oxygen. It is a right. Okay. You guys, that's all I have for tonight. Great show, everyone. Don W6 GPS. What an awesome demonstration there for the D-Star. Anyhow, a couple more announcements. I saw that we have 7211 for the 40-meter net. And, of course, don't forget the D-Star net on 14 Charlie. We're due drop in for the Echolink net. And I have not seen anything on a 20-meter net. So I'm going to say look around 14268.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm hearing activity already, 7211.
And I was listening to WTWW over here, and it's still there. It has faded pretty good on me, but I think that was Amanda on there. Well, thanks for being here with us tonight. Bob slept out a little bit early. We did have a full show tonight, and I know Brian needs to get on because they got something else going on at the studio. So, I was just looking for the close here. Before we go, anyone else got anything to add? Especially Gordo, because, he's not always here at the end of the show.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I've got one meeting I have to attend for emergency comms right now, but I'll be back on the air 7211 in about an hour and a quarter. So if the band's still open, see you there. Thanks, Net Controllers, for a great job.
All right, Amanda, any final words besides oxygen-free wire? I can't even say that.
One more thing, you guys. I coordinated a 100-mile bike ride this last weekend. Completely successful. 5 aid stations, 22 operators out there, 5 mobiles. Did an awesome job. No accidents, no injuries. That's all you can ever hope for. All traffic got past the net control, and the event coordinators were happy. So that's what I've got, you guys. Thanks so much. Over to you, George.
Wow, 100 miles on a bicycle. I couldn't even imagine that.
Crazy.
Dale, anything final with you?
Not too much, George. I'm enjoying that series that Bob Rice up in Canada did on constructing that antenna one piece at a time. The people that can do things like that amaze me, because I'm all thumbs when it comes to doing anything mechanical. So looking forward to the next installment in a couple of weeks, George. Otherwise, hope we can get on the air this weekend. We'll be on the net on 7211 here in a few minutes. So 7-3 to all for now, George. See you later.
Okay. Good to see you again tonight, Dale. We'll be looking forward to that. Well, thanks for being here. Join us again next week at the same time. The whole gang will be back for another exciting Ham Nation.